Alright, Karina baby, a year full of stories. Today is April the 24th, and it is your Aunt Shannon's birthday, so that is a good thing. Your Aunt Shannon is 5 years older than me, so she's 39 today, and, right? Yeah, she's 39 today, and, hopefully she's doing amazing. So let's find out what her birthday day would be. It's a little monkey. And here it is. Look. A little monkey. I sing like a bird, swim like a fish, kick like a donkey, run like a hare, eat like a pig, sleep like a sloth, leap like a frog, climb like a bear. And sometimes I'm just a little monkey. There it is, a little monkey. Can you see all of it? Sing like a hare, fish, a donkey, a hare, a pig, a sloth. There's my little monkey. Baby mama loves you. Mama will always love you, okay? No matter what. I am so sorry I'm not there with you right now. I really, really am. I don't think I even started this book with you yet. Peter Rabbit. The Peter Rabbit books. Peter Rabbit, Squirrel Nutkin, Tailor of Gloucester, Benjamin Bunny, Two Bad Mice, Masticky Wicky, Mr. Jerry Fisher, Tom Kitten, Jeremiah Puddle Duck, The Fluffy Bunnies, Mr. Tail Mouse, Tommy's Top Tails, the new series. So there you have it. Look at them. The Great Big Treasury. Okay, we already read The Tale of Peter Rabbit the other day. Okay, let's go on to The Tale of Gloucester. Look at this. I don't know if it's Gloucester, Massachusetts. Let's find out what Gloucester it even is. The Tale of Gloucester. In the time of swords and periwigs and full-skirted coats were flowered leopards with gentlemen wore ruffles and golden lace, waist-tails of padosie and taffite. There lived a tailor in Gloucester. He sat in the window of a little shop in Westgate Street, cross-lodged on a table from morning till dark. All day long, while the light lasted, he sewed and snippled, pricing out his satin. The pop pandor and lustering staffs had stage names and were very expensive in the days of Tailor of Gloucester. But although he sewn fine silk for his neighbors, he himself was very, very poor. He cut his coats without waste according to his embroidered cloth. They were very small ends of snipples, and lay about upon their table, too narrow bread this for naught, except waistcoats for mice, said the tailor. One bitter cold day, near Christmas time, the tailor began to make a coat of cherry-colored corded silk, embroidered with pansies and roses, and a creamy-colored satin waistcoat for the Mayor of Gloucester. There were 12 pieces for the coat and 4 pieces for the waistcoat, and there were pocket flaps and cuffs and buttons all in order for the lining of the coat. There were fine yellow taffeta, and from the buttonholes of the waistcoat there was cherry-colored twists, and everything was ready to sew together in the morning, all measured and succulent, except that there was wanting just one single skein of cherry-colored twisted silk. The tailor came out of his shop at dark, and no one lived there at night but little brown mice, and they ran in and out without any keys. The tailor worked, and he talked to himself, no breadth at all, and cut on the cross it is no breadth at all. Tippets for mice, and ribbons for mobs. For mice, said the Tailor of Gloucester, when the snowflakes come down against the small leaded window, panes of shut out of the light, and Tailor had done his day's work, all the silk and satin lay out upon the table. Let's show you the photos. I'm sorry. Look at this. There's the mice. There's the guy working. See the mice? And then, look at that mouse. Look at how dressed up she is. She looks like such a doll. And then look at, he's leaving. He's going out the door. Okay. For beneath the wooden wainscots of the old houses of Gloucester, there are little mice staircases and secret trapdoors, and the mice ran from the house to house through the long, narrow passages. But the tailor came out of his shop and shuffled home through the snow. And although it was not a big house, the tailor was so poor and only rented the kitchen. He lived alone with his cat in his called Simpkin. Meow, said the cat. When the tailor opened the door, meow. The tailor replied, Snipkin. We shall make our fortune, but I am worn and raveling. Take this goat, which is our last 4d. And Snippin took the china pimpkin, but a pen'orth of bread, and pen'orth of milk, and a pen'orth of sausage. And oh, Snipkin was the last penny of our 4d, but me 1 pennyth of cherry-colored silk. But do not last the little penny of the foreskin Snipkin, or I am undone and worn to a thread paper, for I have no more twist. Then the tailor started for, suddenly interrupting him from the dresser of the other side of the kitchen came a number of little noises. Tip-tap, 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 tip. Now, what can that be? Said the Tailor of Gloucester, jumping up from his chair. The tailor crossed the kitchen and stood quite still beside the dresser, listening and peering through his spectacles. This is very peculiar, said the Tailor of Gloucester, and he lifted up the teacup, which was upside down. Oh. Now let's see these photos here. A little bit closer up, see what we can see. So, there's him walking home. And look at that cat. Isn't he precious? And look at this. What is he doing? He's sitting by. Is that a fireplace? He's warming his feet on the stove. Mama used to do that all the time. And it's cheaper than the heat. There he is. Okay. One siphoned a little lady mouse and made a curtsy to the tailor, and then she hopped away down off the dresser and under the wainscot. And the tailor sat down again by the fire, warming his poor cold hands, and all of the ones from the dresser there came out from little noises. Tip-tap, 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 tip. "This is a passing extraordinarily," said the Tailor of Gloucester, and turned over another teacup, which was upside down. Out stepped a little gentleman mouse, and made a bow at the tailor, and out from under the teacup, and out from under the bowls and the basins, stepped other and more little mice, who hopped away down off the dresser and under the wainscot. Look at those little mice. They're so cute. And then suddenly they all ran away together down the passage between the wainscot, squeaking and calling one another as they ran from the house to house. Not one mouse was left in the tailor's kitchen. Which Snipkin came back, he sat down and the pimkin of milk upon the dresser and looked suspiciously at the teacups. He wanted his supper of little fat mouse. "Snipkin," said the tailor, "where is my twist?" The tailor sat down close over the fire, lamenting. 21 buttonholes of cherry-colored silk to be finished by noon of Saturday, and this is Tuesday evening. Was it right to let loose those mice? Undoubtedly the property of Snipkin Alec. I am on bone, for I have no more twist." The little mice came out again and listened to the tailor. They took notice of the patterns that of that wonderful coat. They whispered to one another about the taffeta lining and about the little mouse tippets. Oh, they're interested in what he's doing. They want his skills to make them clothes. But Snipkin hid a little parcel prevalently in the teapot and spit and growled at the tailor. As if Snipkin had been able to talk, he would have asked, "Where is my mouse?" "Alec, I am undone," said the Tailor of Gloucester, and went sadly to bed. All that night long Snipkin hunted and searched through the kitchen, peeping into cupboards and under the wainscot, and into the teapot where he had hidden that twist. But still he found never a mouse. Oh, look, Snipkin hid the twist. Where did he hide it? In the teapot where he had hidden the twist. Baby, he hidden the twist from him. Look at that. The poor old tailor was very ill with a fever, tossing and turning in his 4-post bed, and still in his dreams he muttered, "No more twist, no more twist." What should become of the cherry-colored coat? Who should come to sew it? When the window was buried and the door was fast locked, out of the doors market folks went trembling through the snow to buy their geese and turkeys and to bake their Christmas pies. But there would be no more dinners for Snipkin and the poor old Tailor of Gloucester. The tailor lay ill for 3 days and nights, and then it was Christmas Eve, and very late at night, and still Snipkin wanted his mice, and meowed as he stood beside the 4-post bed. But it is in the old story that all that beasts came talk in the night between Christmas Eve. But it is in all the old stories that all the beasts can talk in the night between Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. In the morning, though, there are very few folk that can hear them, or know what it is that they say. When the cathedral clock struck 12, there was an answer, like an echo of the chimes, and Snifkin heard it, and came out of the tailor's door, and wandered about in the snow. Look at him wandering about in the snow. So, there they are. Right? Look at that mouse. And look at there's Snifkin the cat wandering around in the snow. Down on the bottom, baby. From all the roofs and gables and the old wooden houses in Gloucester came 1,000 merry voices singing the old Christmas rhymes, and the old songs that ever heard, and some that I didn't know, like whitening bells. Under the wooden eaves of the starlings and the sparrows sang of Christmas pies. The jackdaws woke up in the cathedral tower, and although it was the middle of the night, the thralls and ribbons and the quite full of little twiddling tunes. But it was all the rather provoking to poor hungry Snifkin, for this tailor's ship in Westgate came a glow of light, and when Snifkin crept up to peep in at that, there was a sniffling of the scissors and sniping of the threads, and a little mouse voice sang loudly and gladly. Oh, guess that's 24 tailors went to catch a snail. The best man among them durst not touch her tail. She put out her horns like a little coyote cow. Run, tailors, run, run, tailors, run. Oh, shall you have all the evening now? Then without a pause the little mouse voice went on again. Siver my lady's oatmeal, grind my lady's flour, put it in a chestnut, let it stand an hour. Meow, meow, interrupted Snifkin, and he scrappled at the door, but the key was under the tailor's pillow. He could not get in. The little mice only laughed and tried another tune. Their little mice sat down to spin. Kitty passed by and she peeped in. Where are you at, my fine little men? Making coats for the gentlemen. Shall I come in and cut off your thread? Oh no, my Miss Kitty, you'd bite off our heads. You'd bite off our heads. Meow, scratch, scratch, scrabble. Snifkin is at the window sill. Oh wait, let's go back. Meow, scratch, scratch, sniffle. Snifkin is at the windowsill, silly well, the little mice inside, sparrowing at their feet, and again began to shout, all in one, a little twirling voice, no more twist, no more twist, and they brought up the windows, shutters, and shout out to Snifkin. Snifkin came away from this shop, and went home, considering in his mind. He found the poor old tailor without fever, sleeping peacefully. Then Snifkin went on to tiptoe and take a little parcel of silk out of the teapot, and looked at it in the moonlight, and he felt quite ashamed of his badness compared with those good little mice. When the tailor awoke in the morning, the first thing which he saw Upon the patchwork quilts was snipkin of cherry-colored twisted silk, and beside his bed stood the repentant Simpkin. The sun was shining on the snow when the tailor got up and dressed and came out into the street with Snipkin running before him. "Aleck," said the tailor, "I have my twist, but no more strength, nor time, than will serve to make me one single buttonhole. For this is Christmas Day, and in the morning the Mayor of Gloucester shall be married by noon. And where is his cherry-colored coat?" He unlocked the door of the little shop in Westgate Street, and Snipkin ran in like a cat that expects something. But there was no one there, not even one little brown mouse. But upon the table, oh joy, the tailor gave a shout. There were his... gave a shout. There where he had left plain cuttings of silk, there lie the most beautiful coat and embroidering satin Westgate waistcoat that ever were worn by a mayor of Gloucester. Oh my goodness. Someone knew that he was sick and helped him out. Who do you think it was? It's always good to help. No matter where you are, no matter what you do, you always help, right? Everything was finished except just one single cherry-colored buttonhole, and where that buttonhole was wanting there was pinned a scrap of paper with these words, in little tiny weeny words, "No more twist." And from then began a lack of Tailor of Gloucester. He grew quite stout, and he grew quite rich, and he made the most wonderful waistcoats for all the rich merchants of Gloucester, and for all the fine gentlemen of the country round. Never were seen such a ruffles or such an embroidering cuffs and lappets, but his buttonholes were the greatest triumph of it all. The stitches of these buttonholes were so neat, I wonder how they could be stitches by an old man in spectacles with crooked old fingers and a tailor's thumb and a tailor's thimble. The stitches of those buttonholes were so small they looked as if they had been made by a little mice. The little mice stayed and helped him out, and he stopped drinking. I think twist is rum. So he had twist, right? And then he ran out of twist. So he had to be sick for a couple of days, babe. And then he was okay. Say it's okay. And he had the mice help him out. How nice was that? So, the Tale of Squirrel Nupkin. Oh, baby, Mama loves you. You know that? I miss you. I miss you, and I love you, and I'm sorry, baby. I really am. Let's see what's coming up in this one. I think it's Johnny Cake. Alright. So let's do The Wolf and the 7 Kids. There was once an old nanny goat who had 7 kids, and she was just as fond of them as a mother is of her children. One day she was going into the woods to fetch some food for them, so she called them all up to her and said, "My dear children, I am going out into the woods. Beware of the wolf. If once he gets into the house, he will eat you up, skin and hair and all. The rascal often disguises himself, but you can know him by his rough voice and his black feet." The kids, "Oh, we will be very careful, dear mother. You may be quite happy about us." Leading, trembling, the old goat went off to her work. Before long, someone knocked on the door and cried, "Open the door, dear children. Your mother has come back and brought something for each of you." But the kids knew quite well by the voice that it was the wolf. "We won't open the door," they cried. "You are not our mother. She has soft, gentle voice, but yours is rough, and we are quite sure that you are the wolf." So he went away to the shop, and he brought a lump of chalk, which he ate, and it made his voice soft. He went back, knocking at the door again, and cried, "Open the door, dear children. Your mother has come back and brought something for each of you." But the wolf had put on his paws at the window, and still where the kids saw it, and they cried, "We won't open the door. Our mother has not gotten black feet, as you have. You are the wolf." Then the wolf ran out to the baker and said, "I have bruised my foot. Please put some dough on it." And when the baker put some dough on his foot, he ran to the miller and said, "Stew some flour on my feet." The miller thought, "The old wolf is going to take somebody in and refused." But the wolf said, "If you don't do it, I will eat you up." So the miller was frightened and whitened his paws. People are like that, you know. People are like that, you know. They really are. Some people really are like that, baby. Now the wretch went for the third time at the door and knocked, and he said, "Open the door, children. Your dear mother has come home and has brought something for each of you out of the wood." The kids cried, "Show us your feet first, so that we may be sure that you are our mother." He put his paws in the window sill, and when they saw that they were white, they believed all he said and opened the door. Alas, it was the wolf who walked in. They were terrified and tried to hide themselves. One ran under the table, the second jumped into the bed, the third into the oven, the fourth ran into the kitchen, the fifth got into the cupboard, the sixth got into the wash tub, and the seventh hid in a tall clock case. But the wolf found them all but one, and made short work of them. He swallowed one after the other, except the youngest one in the clock case, whom he did not find. When he had satisfied his appetite, he took himself off and lay down in the meadow outside, where he would soon fall asleep. Not long afterwards, the old nanny goat came back from the woods. Oh, what a terrible sight met her eyes! The house door was wide open. Tables, chairs, and benches were overturned. The washing bowl was smashed to... Oh, look at that, baby. It's your Aunt Shannon. Hey, Shan. How are you? Happy birthday.